Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm State Park and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We are in the book of Proverbs, which is about halfway through the Bible. If you just open it up, you'll be either in Psalms or Proverbs, probably in Proverbs. And we are up to chapter 26. There are 31 chapters in Proverbs. The first 9 are sort of introductory and talk a lot about wisdom. Chapters 10 through 29, and we're in 26, so we're getting there, are proverb. Just all these pithy sayings that are full of truth. And then the last 2 chapters are kind of wrapping up, and at the beginning they portray wisdom as a woman calling to you and saying, hey, you want to do this. And at the end there's another woman who is an example of a good, hardworking, righteous woman. In the middle, we have Proverbs. Proverbs are pithy sayings that sometimes are true more than one way, or true observations of just how life is. And of course, they're not transactional. You don't guarantee you do this, therefore you get that. It's you tend, if you do this, then you tend to get that. And it's still very, very true that we know. And so a classic modern proverb that can be taken more than one way: a watched pot never boils. And you're like, oh, it's never going to boil because you're watching it. Or if you watch it, you keep it from boiling over. So that's a modern example of a proverb. And we have quite a few modern versions. These today have a lot to do about fools, including 2 proverbs that completely seem to contradict each other. The idea is Proverbs, like anything else, are situational. Even with my watched pot, which way it means depends on you're impatient and you're waiting for it to boil, or you're watching it to keep it from boiling. There's 2 different ways to look at that. So most Proverbs apply in more than one way or different situations. So chapter 26, like snow in summer or rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. So we don't want it to snow in the summer. In the summer, we want it to be warm and go to a barbecue. But if it snows in the winter, in the summer, you're like, oh, what is it doing? It's snowing. You'll get all upset. And it's not fitting for a fool to be honored. Like a sparrow in its flitting, like a swallow in its flying, an undeserved curse goes nowhere. So if somebody says something about you that is not deserved, it's unfair, it's untrue, it's undeserved, it's a curse, then let it flit away. It's like a sparrow flitting around, a swallow flying away, like whatever, let it go. Verse 3, a whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. So you drive a horse with a whip, you put a bridle in a donkey's mouth, also in a horse's mouth, but you drive a fool with a rod on their back, you beat them. These are the 2 that are, the next 2 are the ones that sound like they're opposite, but they aren't really. Verse 4, do not answer fools according to their folly, or you will be a fool yourself. So don't enter into the foolishness. Don't try to take them seriously. Like there's a lot of different ways you could take that. But then verse 5, answer fools according to their folly, or they will be wise in their own eyes. So what does that mean? I think it's like a watch pot never boils. There's more than one way to understand how do you answer fools. If you answer them, don't answer them according to their folly. Don't be a fool yourself. But answer fools according to their folly. Give them what they deserve for being foolish. Verse 6, it is like cutting off one's foot or drinking down violence to send a message by a fool. Cutting off one's foot. Ugh. Verse 7, the legs of a disabled person hang limp, so does a proverb in the mouth of a fool. So a proverb doesn't help a fool learn anything, and if a fool says a proverb, it doesn't mean anything, it just hangs there limply. Verse 8, it is like binding a stone in a sling to give honor to a fool. Binding a stone in a sling. My goodness, the idea. If you have a sling, and back in biblical days, they would put, like David and Goliath, put stones into a sling and swing it around and let it rip. And it was like a gun. It was like, it sinks into Goliath's forehead and he falls down. and slingers were so accurate and they were such a powerful weapon. But imagine you tie the stone into the sling. That's what giving honor to a fool is like, tying your stone into your sling so it doesn't fly. It just makes no sense. Verse 9, like a thorn bush brandished by the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. So that's second one, verse 7, verse 9, are both how awful it is to have proverbs in the mouth of fools. And I think one modern similar situation, I'm not sure that I want to accuse people of being fools, but every now and then something happens and these people have these cliches, especially somebody passes away and they're like, oh, God needed another angel in heaven. No, that's not how death works. We all pass, and death stinks, and it's no fun. And the person who's grieving does not want to hear that their person that they're missing and loving is now an angel in heaven. They want to grieve. So a proverb in the mouth of a fool, or even a cliche in the somebody who's heartless and not very thinking and not very considerate. They just hang their limp and or a thorn bush brandished by the hand of a drunkard. It just hurts to say something like God wanted them in heaven. God wanted another angel in heaven. It hurts. A person is grieving and we say something like that to them. It's just like thorn bush brandished in the hand of a drunkard. It's random, painful, awful. And there's so many cliches, and I don't even remember a lot of them, but there's so many terrible things that people say when somebody dies. And sometimes the best thing to say is nothing. It's just to sit there with the person and say, wow, this is awful. I guess that's not saying nothing, but still. Verse 10, like an archer who wounds everybody is one who hires a passing fool or a drunkard. Footnote, no, meaning of Hebrew is uncertain. So they're not sure if they mean drunkard or some other word. Verse 11, like a dog that returns to its vomit is a fool who reverts to his folly. So if you've ever had a dog, you know if they throw up or do something that they want to go check it out. And a fool goes back to its foolishness, his or her. Verse 12, do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There's more hope for fools than for them. Oh my goodness. So if somebody thinks they're all that and a bag of chips, if they think they're wise, there's more hope for fools. Verse 13, the lazy person says, there's a lion in the road. There's a lion in the streets. We had a proverb like this a few chapters ago, back to the idea of what a lazy person says, oh, I can't go out and I can't go get a job. AI is stealing all the jobs. It's like, no, it's not stealing all the jobs. There's not a lion in the road. There's not a lion in the street. Stop making excuses and get out there and don't be lazy. Another lazy one, verse 14, as a door turns on its hinges, so does a lazy person in bed. I can just picture an ancient Jewish mother saying to their Jewish child, as a door turns on its hinges, so a lazy person turns in the bed. Get out of bed, get up, go doing something. Verse 15, a lazy person buries a hand in the dish and is too tired to bring it back to the mouth. Oh my goodness. And I think, again, we had a proverb like this a few chapters ago. Get your hand in the dish, because it's use bread or something to serve yourself some food, and they're too tired to bring the hand to the mouth. They get into the situation where they could make some money, but they're too tired to actually do the work to make the money, or to whatever it is. Another lazy one, verse 16, a lazy person is wiser in self-esteem than 7 who can answer discreetly. Ooh, so they think a lot of themselves. Verse 17, like someone who takes a passing dog by the ears is one who meddles in the quarrel of another. Oh, so if you see a dog walking by in the street, would you grab it by the ears? I sure wouldn't, because I know it's going to bite me. But we sometimes see quarrels and arguments and think, oh, we're going to wade in there and help them out. No, it's like grabbing a dog by the ears. It's going to be painful. Verse 18, like a maniac who shoots deadly firebrands and arrows. Verse 19, so is one who deceives a neighbor and says, I'm only joking. Oh, so somebody who's like says terrible, deadly firebrands and arrows. Sometimes we say terrible, hurtful, awful things and then follow it up with, I'm joking. But the problem is that truth, that sting, that cut, and it's awful. Verse 20, for lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, quarreling ceases. So if you've got an argument or a quarrel or a disagreement going on, when you stop whispering and gossiping and talking about it, it'll die out. And the next one goes with it, verse 21, as charcoal is to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome person for kindling strife. You want to get strife, you want to get argument, use a quarrelsome person, and just like putting, we would nowadays, modern translation would be to put fire, why am I blanking, when you start a fire and you use charcoal lighter and pour it on there and throw the match on there. So quarrelsome person is like charcoal lighter. Verse 22, the words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. So a whisperer is like a gossip. So the words of a gossip, they go down inside of us, and they are not necessarily a good thing to have down inside of us. Verse 23, like the glaze covering on an earthen vessel are smooth lips with an evil heart. Ooh. So you have an earthen vessel that's like pottery, but we put a glaze on it. It makes it smooth. But underneath it, it's still very rough. If you ever had a broken piece of pottery and it's all smooth on the outside, but on the inside, it's that very rough earth. So smooth lips with an evil heart, same idea. They look all smooth, but underneath, it's evil. Verse 24, an enemy dissembles in speaking while harboring deceit within. Dissemble is a fancy word for lies, or at least misdirects, misleads. So an enemy tries to act, they speak untruthfully, harboring deceit within. Verse 25, when an enemy speaks graciously, do not believe it, for there are 7 abominations concealed within. Verse 26, though hatred is covered with guile, the enemy's wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. So those two, I think, go together. So if an enemy speaks graciously, don't believe it, for there are 7 abominations concealed within. Hatred is covered with guile, but the enemy's wickedness will be exposed in the assembly, in the gathering. Verse 27, whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and a stone will come back on the one who starts it rolling. Whoa. So you try to get somebody else in trouble, you try to catch somebody in a pit, you try to roll a stone, but you're going to roll it on yourself. And it's one of those that can be physically true. You drew a pit, you fell into it, and metaphorically true. You were trying to trap this person, but you got caught in your own trap. And we have all heard of, at least in literature, things like that would happen. Verse 28 is the last verse in this chapter. A lying tongue hates its victims, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Whoa. And a lying tongue, they hate the people that they're lying about, and a flattering mouth works ruin. That's interesting. A flattering mouth works ruin. Because sometimes we all are, at least I'm as vain as anybody else, and I like compliments. But do I really like flattery? Like, I don't trust somebody who just feels like they're trying to flatter me. Like, why are they trying to flatter me? Are they trying to get something out of me? Are they trying to influence me some way? So it works ruin is an interesting way of putting that. If you flatter somebody else or accept flattery or hear flattery, it's probably not a healthy, good thing in the long run. Somebody's trying to influence somebody else, or somebody's trying to lie to somebody else and trying to get something that they want, and it's not authentic. And authenticness, of course, is the hard part. We all love authenticity, but it's sometimes hard to be authentic because that requires being vulnerable and being able to be seen for who we really are. And what if they see who I really am, they might not like me. And it's hard sometimes to be authentic, but the older I get, the more I value authenticity, the more I myself want to be an authentic person, the more I would like people to like me, but I would like to be authentic even more than I would like people to like me. And still working on that one, but coming a long way and finding myself in a place where authenticity is far more important to me than being liked by others, although that one is also still important to me. So just to be honest, just to be authentic, just to be vulnerable, because we love authenticity, and flattery is not authentic. Flattery is disguising some kind of trickery and some kind of motive that I would not trust. So, some thoughts to think about. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace. Like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you again next time, and thank you so much for being here.